let's talk about some Google court cases. These came out late last year, but I want to reiterate and reaffirm that this is part of my technique in why I rank. It's because I don't think outside the box. I don't try and break any rules. I mean, I understand things move the needle, but in the end, Google had to defend itself, and they had to submit evidence in this court trial on how they operate. The first link I'll share is this one, number 1. So this whole thing is called Life of a Click. It's all about user interaction. You'll see some boxes in here where there's no data. That's because it's been redacted. They removed images. But this is what I want to show you here. This is straight from Google Confidential and Proprietary. They had to defend themselves in court saying this is how we rank. And this is it, the body. What does the document say about itself? Google updated their information recently on their SEO stuff. You'll notice it straight up tells you, you need the term you're trying to be found for in your header, in your content, in your H2s. They make it very clear. They don't hide it from you because they don't want to be sued. Anchors. What anchor text do you have in there? Very, very important. Not only to what you are internal linking to, but what to other people link to you as. And again, user interactions, this is clicks. It's all about clicks. So I believe it's this document, but they show an example of one of their sites. This is how it works. They read, they click, they scroll, mouse hovers. That's what the cookie is using on your browser. That's like if you use Microsoft Clarity, the heat map, you can watch how people move around the screen. You can watch their interaction. And that's what they do. Interactions, happy user involvement. And you'll see a lot of it's taken out because they're showing straight up where things get clicked on screens. So this one's been pretty much cleaned out and redacted for the rest of it. So that's number 1. Number 2. This is an internal document that still exists and applies today, which is why Google and the staff, the whistleblower involved, admitted it as evidence because this still applies today. Core search, these are the people that were talking about it and who wrote about it and documented it, right? Understanding language, right? Our ability to understand documents directly is minimal. They can't understand your content. So we use how people react. Do they like? Do they share? Do they print? Do they download it in PDFs? Do they want to save it? Anything to get a user interaction. That's not an ad. If you're clicking to have an ad removed, guess what? They don't use that. In fact, having ads on your site is a negative involvement as far as Google is concerned, unless it's theirs, of course. We are looking for positive reactions. How does it pass? Do people share it? It's really about sharing, because this is how we serve the next person and keep the induction rolling and sustain the illusion that we understand. It's an illusion. We fake understanding fails, so we look stupid. They hid some examples here of when they're completely wrong. They showed some SERPs if you just put in certain queries. Next one, ranking for research. Now, this is something very interested, right? They straight up tell people not to discuss things. Do not ever, 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 ever mention anything. Isn't this amazing? Because SEOs do this when they get information, right? So they're warning. This is huge warnings. This is a prime example that's showing that this particular page was why it's such a winning page. It ranked so well because the share this and the emails were right at top. That was the biggest thing. They got such huge interaction when they changed this on their layout. They weren't expecting that. So need to know basis, because look, they're used against us. SEOs, patent trolls, competitors, you see, they get thousands of patents. So you can't figure out what they're using. I mean, that's the whole point. Do not discuss political bias. Do not discuss the use of clicks in search. except on a need-to-know basis. So it's really always been about those clicks. They were depending on how they rate these things. And this is why there's so many different changes every single day. So the association between observed user behavior and search result quality is tenuous. We need lots of traffic to draw a conclusion, and individual examples are difficult to interpret. But the only way they can do that is from that matrix. Because this is all database. Query is your search term, your keyword, whatever. That query gets written 3 times, and they get 3 results back for each one. So it gets 9 results back, because RankBrain is a large language model like OpenAI. So then it does a best of 9, and chances are it's usually pretty much always generally the same. Number 4. This is one of my favorites. Google is magical because everyone thinks they are. This is not how search works. Like, this is how they demonstrated this to the juries. They were trying to explain this very simply to juries. We get a query, various scoring systems emit data. We slap on a user interface and ship it to the user. Wrong. So they have all these things. See, we send the SERP out, people use it, do they interact with it, and then we learn. People interact with search, their actions teach us about the world. Clicks might tell us that an image was better than a web result. So it really is not magic. It's two-way dialogue with users. So every query, we give you some knowledge and get some back. Then we give a little more and get a little bit back. This isn't the only way we learn, but it's the most effective. Clicks are the most effective way we learn that a website is on point. The only way they can tell us what the answer is by interaction. Was the thing good? Did they want to keep it? Did they bookmark the page? All those things are tracked. Which is best? Titles and snippets provide background. An answer is a click. So it's the title that draw people in, and they rate it on the click. As engineer, this is what I would do. I would test out content, throw it up there. If it got clicks, it looked good. Let's try it again. Let it sit for a little bit longer this time. And if it got continual clicks with good feedback, then we're going to leave it here. A lot of AI gets indexed and ranked, but they're just throwing up walls of text and crappy websites with no UX. There's no interaction. There's no clicks. People don't want to see crap like that, so they go back. They click gone. They're out. All of a sudden, Google gave them a chance. Interactions were so low, they're de-indexed and gone. This is what I thought was interesting, where they're trying to change the way their outlooks provide what types of information. I started trying to do some search similar to this to see what I would get. Some knowledge cards need an extra tab to fully open. On the left, an extra tab means users want lower classifications and an overview. On the right, it has too little background of information. There's not enough on this image to allow them to continue on. It wasn't sure specifically about it. Maybe the meta tag and title and all that stuff wasn't proper, or the image name wasn't done upright. Number 5, logging and ranking. Still back to this, the two-way challenge, right? Two-way dialogue. Get some. So we have to translate logged events, clicks, swipes, views, scrolls, pauses, etc., to guess at what parts of the search page were good or bad. There are different pieces. Each one of these do something different. Some allowed it to understand word placement, like lips and lorem. That's what that all is about. That's what PageRank is about. I believe the next one then allow it to understand synonyms. And then that's when they started stemming words together, saying these 3 words are recognized by us as the same word. Skateboard, skateboarding, and skateboards, and what have you. And so they started stemming words and viewing it as only one word. See, web ranking is only part of search, but many search features use web results to interpret the query and trigger accordingly. Number 6. This was their internal emails that were admitted as evidence. And what they're basically saying, they look at query frequency and term frequency, and without them talking about it, basically it's going back to TF-IDF calculations. They say they're not using it. Yes, they are. But then look at